Joining us now, of course, she's a multi-time all-conference performer. She has got a tremendous career, the top five in most of the UCF categories. Offensively, you name it. She knows about conference championships. It's referenced the walk-off queen, and now has got a new title over there at FAU. Shannon Doherty joining us here on In the Circle at D1 Softball, powered by 643. You got a lot of titles there.
Yeah, you just rattled off quite a few.
Yes. So let's talk about the more new recent title you've got. You're now at FAU in Boca, and you've got a nice little title named after you. So just take me through now what's it been like being in Boca here since obviously the news that you're now there as the Director of Player Development.
Yeah, it's been awesome so far. I've been down here for a little over a month now. And to be honest with you, the transition went super smooth. I'm kind of a creature of habit, and I'm not a huge fan of change. So the whole thing was a little stressful for me, but Coach Jordan, her staff, Shelby, Nicole, Kate, they just welcomed me in with open arms and really made me feel part of the family off the bat. So it was a super smooth transition for me, and it's honestly going better than I ever expected it to.
So take us through how this kind of came about. You were obviously a GA at UCF after your playing career, and then obviously this opportunity that presented itself. Was it something that was on the radar? Was it something that came out of nowhere? How did this come about? Certainly you're from, nearby, so that probably was intriguing to you, but what was it like in the process?
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know this, but I actually started my master's degree in my last year of my eligibility of softball. So in my fifth year, my last season, I was in a graduate program at UCF, which made my first year as a graduate assistant technically my second year in the master's program. So I actually graduated and got my master's degree last May. So I was kind of in a situation at the end of the year where I had my master's degree. I graduated in May. And I was just kind of in a position where I was, looking for a big girl job. So it was time for me to kind of spread my wings a little bit and just find somewhere that like I said, I wasn't in a position to continue with the graduate assistantship just because I had already got my master's. That's really what it boiled down to.
Yeah, it got expired. That's what happens. You win an order, order of Pegasus. You graduate pretty quick.
Yeah, I guess so.
So what was that like? Obviously, as you're looking to see what you want to do. Why this job was the right job for you?
That's a really good question. I think that there was honestly a ton that went into the decision. I think that the conversations that I had with Coach Jordan were just honestly inspiring to me. When she told me about the position of director of player development, it was something that I thought that my personality fit into really well, and something where I feel like I, as an individual and in my career, could grow a lot. And then also, honestly, Coach Jordan was telling me a lot about, the culture of the FAU softball program and the vision that she has for the program in the upcoming years. And I truly believe in it. And I think that, this program and this school is on their way to greatness, and I just wanted to be a part of it.
Let's talk about the title that you have. Take us, what goes into that title role and your role involved with the program here moving forward?
Yeah, so I think that the director of player development is kind of a role that's just getting introduced to the world of college softball, and I think that different programs are doing some different things with it, and it's kind of starting to find its place. But for me, I'm going to be doing a lot of like individual development plans for the players, and then looking at analytics and helping making a balanced lineup based on those analytics, and creating databases based on statistical things from games, and then taking a lot of time to like analyze player performances and then adjust those development plans accordingly as the year goes on to help develop our players, not only as the year goes on, but as their career goes on in this program. And then the other thing that's super cool to me is I'm going to be involved in a lot of community engagement for the program. And that's honestly a really full circle moment for me, just because, like we talked about, I grew up in the area. So I've already gotten to dip my toe into a little bit of stuff with that. And it's really cool to just kind be able to give back to the community and the youth programs that I grew up in, and go do some stuff on fields that I played on for so many years and stuff like that. It's been really filling my cup a lot, and it's been super cool for me.
Yeah, you won what, 4 state championships down there?
Yeah, I did.
What was it like the first time you visited?
Well, I've been coming back to visit family and stuff all my years that I was at UCF. But it was a little weird. I actually went out to my home high school ball field the other day, and it was weird. A lot of memories came back. It was definitely a full circle moment for me. But I don't think it's necessarily weird just because of how much back and forth I did when I was in college. But it's cool to be able to not just visit now, but also give back in different ways.
What's it like now getting to know the players? Because you were in those shoes not too long ago.
Yeah.
So now you're on the other side. I know you did that as a GA last year for Coach Ball Malone, but now you're full-time director there with Coach Clark, and the FAU players, you get to know them and they're getting to know you. What's that been like?
Yeah, no, I mean it's been awesome so far. I've met everyone like via Zoom. I haven't met everyone in person just yet, just because some of the players they're still at home for their summer break and everything like that. But a couple of them are trickling in here and there and kind of just stopping by, walking through the office, whatever. So I'll get to meet them that way. But I have yet to meet the whole squad all at once. I'm really excited to do so. I think that just from everything I've heard and the few moments that I've spent with them on the phone and stuff like that, I think that they're a really, really motivated group. And I think that this is a program that kind of has a chip on its shoulder a little bit. And I thrive under environments like that. So I'm really excited.
It is unique because they're coming off back-to-back America Conference regular season championships. You know that a thing or two of how that works. I feel like from that alone, there's a fit there, isn't there? Where you helped. Obviously, you were part of the UCF team that won the 22 regular season title and the tournament title, as well as the 23 tournament title in Tampa. And FAU's won the regular season title the last couple of years. That seems to be kind of a nice synergy there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when this all started to come about, it was just the perfect storm, to be honest with you. And I do have a lot of familiarity with the American Conference. Like you said, I spent 4 of my 5 years of my playing career playing in that conference. So I feel like I know it like the back of my hand. And obviously, there's been teams that have departed and entered and stuff like that. But for the most part, I feel very familiar with the conference and the way they run things and things like that. So I think that is an advantage for me in this role for sure.
What describe Coach Clark?
She's awesome, man. I have had so much fun with Coach Clark so far. I mean, honestly, the whole staff. There's never been a dull moment since the second I walked in the doors. We're always laughing, always having a good time. Just they really do a really good job of like getting to know each other. Like they really want to be bonded and want to be a team and want to work well together and know each other's strengths and weaknesses, so we can kind of build on each other and be the best versions of ourselves. And I think that that's really big for me. I think I feed off of people's energy a lot, and just the energy in the building is great. It's great. It's always a ton of fun. We're always working hard. We're always there's always like a goal in mind or a task at hand, and none of us are willing to stop until we achieve it. So it's been fun. It's been cool to get to know everyone. And like I said, they've done nothing but welcome me with open arms. And I'm just so beyond grateful for it. Like I said, I've only been here for a little over a month, and I already feel like I'm part of the family. So
Plus, you've competed against her the last couple of years when she was with the FAU program. 2 good battles there.
mm-hmm.
Did that also cross your mind as you were talking with her and the job about you faced them, so you kind
Oh,
of were familiar with her and their staff?
of course it did. She is a very, very competitive human being. And like I said, I kind of feed off of people's energies, and I thrive in competitive environments. And that is exactly what Coach Jordan has built here at FAU is a very competitive environment. Everything that we do, I mean, everything we do in the office, it's like it'll just be us hanging out, and somehow we end up playing some sort of game or doing some sort of contest. It's just, I mean, it's so much fun, and everything we do is competition. And that's kind of how I was raised and how I grew up, was just everything's a competition. Everything, there's always going to be a winner at whatever we're doing. So I just feel like I've been thriving in it. Honestly, it's been so much fun, and I don't really feel like I'm working all that much. We're working very hard, but it's always so much fun that it doesn't feel like a task at hand. It feels like, we're just all growing together.
What's the most popular question you've gotten since your arrival there?
Popular question I've gotten.
Yeah, common question. It could be anything. It could be, hey, what's compare this area to Orlando or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, hey, there's something that they're curious about.
That's a good question. I feel like a lot of the question, I mean, they're getting to know me just as much as I'm getting
Right.
to know. So I feel like a lot of questions they've been asking me is just kind of like my coaching style and how I was as a player and stuff like that. Obviously, I played against Kate growing up my whole life, so she knows me pretty well in that sense. But I think that they're trying to get me to know me a lot as like who I was as a player, who I am as coach, how those things have shaped me into the person I am, things like that.
It's interesting because in a lot of weird, it's unique in that, obviously I've talked to Coach Clark, I've gotten to know her since she's taken the FAU job. And obviously I know your previous coach, obviously you worked for, Coach Ball Maloney, you played for. There's a lot of similarities there. I don't know if either one wants to admit that, but you're talking, that's two competitive human beings, as you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, no, they're both extremely competitive people. That is for sure.
Like,
And I feel blessed to have like be a part of both of those environments because, like I said, it's just kind of something I thrive under.
what is you mentioned the impact you want to do to your community there in your backyard where you grew up.
Yeah.
What kind of impact do you want to leave there down there?
I think that FAU, as a school itself, not even just a softball program, is really investing in their school and in their athletic programs. And I think that they're putting themselves on the map and they're really growing it into like a household name. And I think that that is super cool. And I love how much that everyone around us is invested in just the athletic department in general. Everyone I've met on campus is just like, so like, hey, whatever you need, like whatever we can help with, whatever we can do. And that's just super cool to me. So, I mean, for me individually, I just want to be someone that helps them grow. Like they're very clear that they are on an upward trajectory and they want to grow and they want to grow and grow and grow and keep growing. So for me, I just want to be the best version of myself that I can be and be everything that they need me to be so that they can reach their goals. Um, I don't know if that really answers your question, but I
Well,
mean, it seems simple, but that's really what it boils down to for me. I want to help everyone there achieve their goals.
Well, and one of the things I'm fascinated about, and I'm sure obviously I'll talk to Coach Clark probably around fall ball or a little bit after that, is I am curious. They've been to the regionals now 2 years in a row. You're one that has experience and knows what it takes to get out of a regional.
Yeah.
In a very similar situation to where FAU is right now. I mean, to me, the programs were similar. Clark has been on the podcast, talked about when she was an assistant at Ohio State, she saw what Cindy was building at UCF, felt she could do that at FAU as well.
Mm-hmm.
What expertise or advice would you give the players as far as getting that even further for the program? They've had great success, but it's taken it to that next level, kind of like that 22 team did at UCF.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very unique position that they're in right now, right? Because like you said, they're coming off of back-to-back regionals. They've had two very successful seasons. Like you said, it feels very similar to what I went through during my playing career at UCF. And I think that the thing that kind of gets you over the hump at the end of the day, it really, to me, boils down to a mindset. I think that when you go through things like this and you have a ton of success, that you kind of get all eyes on you. You know what I mean? And the whole world starts to watch you. And that can go one of two ways. You can either fold under that pressure or you can thrive under it. And to me, it's just like, the whole world is watching you and they're kind of just holding their breath, waiting for you to fail so they can call it a fluke. So, you got to wake up every day and make sure that those people that are holding their breath, waiting for you to fail, suffocate. And that's kind of the way I see it. And that's kind of the way that I went into my mindset as a player. And a lot about how I played is how I coach too. So I believe that, these girls do have a chip on their shoulder from what I can tell so far. And I think that's awesome. And I think that we just got to keep building on that and keep the fire and keep being feisty and keep, going after everything that they deserve.
You mentioned the difference slightly there, the difference between you, the player, and you now as the coaching side.
Mm-hmm.
What is the difference between the Shannon Doherty, the player, and Shannon Doherty now, the director player?
I think that there's a lot of similarities, but there is definitely some differences. I mean, as a player, I think that I got a little feisty at times. So I think that as a coach, I kind of take a step back, showing that as outwardly as I may have as a player, and just kind of. I think it's really important as a coach to just stay level-headed and stay calm and cool and collected. There's a lot of things that are out of your control in this game, but your attitude and your demeanor are some things that you can control. So I think it is very important to control those things, because you need to be a steady force for your players, and you need to be resilient and someone that they can count on. And so for me, it's very important for me to just remain super level-headed and be that calm, confident, you know, person that they can turn to and look to when they need help in times of the games and stuff like that. Um, so I would say that's the biggest difference for me. But as I've taken on responsibility and stuff on the coaching side of things, I feel like I've seen the game in a little bit different of a way than I saw originally as a player, which has been super cool for me. Just because I'm learning the game in a different way and playing the game in a different way than I did before. So I felt like there's been a ton of personal growth for me, as far as the game of softball goes, and just like softball IQ and the strategic side of things.
You mentioned the analytics, which will be part of your responsibilities there. Have you always been interested in analytics? Have you always been intrigued by it? Take me through that marriage between you and the analytics, because it's a bigger part of not just obviously softball, but it's always been around with baseball as well, and it's every year seems to grow more and more.
Yeah, so it's funny. As a player, I absolutely hated stats. I think you know this.
Yes, I guess you gave me a lot of crap for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, you would come tell me all my stats after every game. I'm like, Elo, I don't want to know. Don't want to know. But yeah, as a player, I absolutely hated stats. I hated them. I refused to look at them until the season was over, just because I think that you know it's just it depends on who you are as a person. And for me, stats made me overthink. It did as a player. It made me overthink, and I knew that about myself, and I was self-aware of that. So I just stayed away from them because I didn't really care at the end of the day how many doubles I had or how many home runs I had or what my batting average was or whatever. If we weren't winning ball games, it didn't matter to me. That's really at the end of the day what my concern was winning ball games. So everything outside of that was a distraction to me, so I didn't want anything to do with it. But as a coach, I think stats are extremely important, and there's something that you need to look into, and numbers don't lie. So I think that they're very. I think that's a relationship that it should be, though. You know what I mean? Like stats are for coaches. Like that's what they're for, and I don't think
Correct.
players need to worry about them as much. Some players they feed off of it, and stats motivate them, and that's great if that's your personality and that's what you need to do, and you know that and it works for you. Then great, do it. But for me personally, that's not how it was, and I think that it is a coach's responsibility to really dive into those stats and see what's working and what's not working, so that you can develop those player development plans, and you can see what we need to work on, what we don't need to work on, just stuff like that. I just think that you're causing a disadvantage to your program if you aren't looking at those things as a coach.
So, what advice would you give one of your players now moving forward? Would you encourage them? Hey, this will help you. Or are you going to go case by case? Clearly, the coaches want all this.
Yeah.
But will the players? How do you now that you're on the other side? Because you know that I'm sure you're not there's a player there that's like I don't want to know because it messes with my head and all that. There's others that do want all that information because they want all that.
Yeah.
What is going to be your approach with these players now? Do you say, hey, this would be good for you, or do you kind of go case by case?
Of course, that's going to be something that we're going to have to come to as a collective decision with the coaching staff. But my personal belief on it is to be an elite athlete, you have to be very self-aware. So I think that it's a little bit of the player's responsibility to be able to understand themselves in that sense. Is that something that helps you, or is that something that doesn't help you? I mean, when I was playing, like I said, it's something that didn't help me, but I played with people that it was very helpful for them, and I watched it with my own eyes be very helpful for them. So I do believe it's definitely a case by case thing. But like I said, to be an elite athlete, you have to be very self-aware, and you have to understand what helps you, what doesn't help you, and then you have to have the discipline to follow through with that, and either use those things or don't use those things. So I definitely think it's a case by case.
Who was a teammate that you saw that liked it and like wanted every detail and benefited from it? that stood out to you?
I think that there was a couple. I think that I don't know, there's not really a name that's coming off the bat, but like I just know that when we would go into like hitting meetings and stuff like
Sure.
that, there would be some case scenarios with some players where those hitting meetings would be like very statistically based and like, look, this is what you've been doing for these past 10 games. This is what you were doing the 10 games before that. And then for some people like myself, it was more of like breaking down film, looking at pitch selection, stuff like that.
You were more of a film person. You like the film aspect of it more.
Yeah, I was a big time film person. I would go home and watch film for hours after games. And I mean, honestly, it got a little ridiculous at times, but I was definitely a big film person when I was playing. And as coach, I same thing. I'll go home and watch all the film right away and just kind of reflect and analyze and things like that. I just think that when you're in the thick of it, you got a million things going on in your head. You're thinking about a million different things. You're trying to think like 3, 4, 5 pitches ahead. You might
Sure.
miss something that happens right in front of your face. So just it's important to go back and watch and see some things that you might have missed in real time.
That kind of explains why you fit really well with Coach Bear. Because I remember when she got there, it was a big change.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously Coach Gillespie was before her, which she was very old school in her, is from her style of coaching.
Mm-hmm.
The analytics was not as big of a part of it. There was, whereas it was when Coach Bear arrived and she told all the players, you got to watch all these films. Like I remember, I'm not going to mention names, but there were players on the team. It's like a different course. They weren't used to that.
Yeah.
But clearly that was when you arrived, that was easy for you.
Well, I mean, I think it's just all I knew,
Right,
like
right.
I think that I never watched film or anything like that in high school. It just didn't, it's not because I didn't want to, I just didn't really have the resources at the time.
Right.
There was like Game Changer or anything like that when I was going through the recruiting process or when I was in high school softball. But, like I got there and that was the expectation. And I was like, okay, like, cool, let's do it. So like I said, I really didn't know any different and I still don't really know any different, to be honest with you.
Right. But you were like, hey, all right, cool. This works for me. Because I remember some of the players, it took them a while to adjust to that. And I
Yeah.
had to adjust to that because as I got to know her, she was making all these moves, as you know. And I'm like trying to ask her, like, what's the thinking there? And then some of that was analytic driven, whether it be offense or defense. Because there was a lot of alignment stuff. So it was kind of a big awakening for me, actually,
Yeah.
from that
Yeah.
standpoint.
I think that there was a lot of really positive changes in the Bear Malone or Ball Malone era that entered
Yeah.
UC.
Have you reflected on your playing career?
That seems like a loaded question, Elo. Yeah, I have reflected on my career. I have a ton. Honestly, I think about it all the time. I miss it every day.
What's the part you miss the most?
Probably like the 6 a.m. lifting and like the conditioning. No, I'm just kidding. I think probably just like the thrill of being out there and like close game, bottom of the 7th, whatever, like that pressure situation, just thrill of that, those moments and stuff like that, and just those moments where you just worked basically your entire life to get to that moment and then you come out of it successful and just that feeling of like that success, there's really nothing like it. And just being able to share that with people that you worked so hard next to, like your teammates and stuff like that. So I think just those moments, and then of course I miss the moments of just like the long bus rides and the team dinners and stuff like that, and just getting to hang out with your best friends 24/7 and just kind of going through life with them. I think that people that aren't in college sports kind of fail to realize how difficult college sports is and how difficult of a lifestyle it is and what a commitment it is. And only the people that are really in the thick of it understand that. So just kind of getting to be with those people 24/7 and grow with them and go through the hardest of hard times with them. And then when that tough moment does come and you come out successful, being able to celebrate that with them. Just being on the field in those moments with your cleats on, I think that's probably what I miss the most.
Post game interviews right up at the top too, right nearby. I'm
Yeah,
sure that
both
was really,
but I have to say, first and foremost was post game interviews with Eric Lopez. I miss those.
I mean, who does it? I mean, Coach Clark's done a post game with me, and yeah, she knows. And Deland, she puts on the show. It's a show in those post games she does. I've
I
seen those up close. Uh, how long did it take you to adapt to, because I remember last year, there were early in the year, especially, like it was a little weird for you, right? You were in the dugout, there's a game going on, and I could tell you were really close to the field as possible. Edge there. How long did it take you to settle in there and, like, say, all right, I'm not going to be on the field?
I think I'm still working on it, to be
Okay.
honest. I think I'm still working on it. I mean,
Do we need to let Jordan know? Like, somebody needs to, like, supervise you there? I mean, like, to sneak you on the field or
yeah,
what?
I don't sneak out there. No, I mean, it's just like I said, like that pressure moment comes and I just like start itching. But I think for me, the coaching really has been the next best thing. It's really different and it's extremely rewarding, and it might be even more rewarding just in a different sense, to be honest with you.
It's interesting. I will not forget. I think I ran into your parents one of the games last year, and I asked them, "Hey, what does it feel different?" And they're like, "Yeah, it's much more relaxing. She has no impact on the results, so we can relax and watch the game."
But, but yeah, I'm sure that they took a long deep breath after I took the cleats on for the last time. I think that they stressed out when I was playing far more than I ever stressed out.
That sounds about right. I think
Yeah.
that's the case for most parents there, from that standpoint there. Uh, are you going to teach some of your players the bat flip?
You know,
Or is that gone? Is that retired?
you know what? I want these players to be themselves. So if they hit one and Coach Clark is cool with it and they want to pump one out, I'm sure it's heck not going to stop them. But no, I don't think I'll be spending a lot of my time teaching it though. I don't
How,
think.
how often did you get asked about that? Because, I mean, for those that may not be aware, that thing went viral when you hit the wall. We've talked about this. It's that
Yeah,
Georgia walk-off home run that, like, I get asked about. I don't think I've ever been asked. I mean, I've done 19 seasons of UCF softball. I've never been asked more about a home run than your home run against Georgia on opening night in 22, and just the viral clip. It was everywhere. They
yeah.
show your reaction, they show your flip, and then you did one against Ole Miss, and everybody's asking about it, and it's like, how often did you get asked about the bat flip?
I still get asked about it quite often.
Okay, so you're
I was doing a camp the other day, and some of the players came up to me and they're like, "Are you the one that threw the bat against Georgia?" And I was like, "Yeah, that was me." So it's I think it's a little bit my claim to fame here. So I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon.
no. I think we're both married to that to a degree. Unfortunately for you, that's because that was a. I mean, that was an opening day game. Normally, people don't really care that much, but that was like a huge event.
No, I mean it was awesome. I mean I think that I kind of downplay the moment a little bit, to be honest with you, but it really was a surreal moment for me. I mean, like I said, those are the kind of moments that I kind of itch for and I live for. And just to be able to come through in a moment like that and kind of set the tone for the rest of the year. I mean, it was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah, I
There's
mean it was interesting because you want a lot of casual fans, like a lot of casual fans, like you became really popular with that, and it just obviously carried over to 22. And then the home run that I don't you should get more credit for is I know you crushed an ESPN truck in the conference championship game in Greenville, where you
yeah,
smoked their truck in Greenville. Like you should show that. Yeah, I don't know if FAU goes to Greenville this year, coming year in the American, but if they do, no, I think the conference tournament's there
the
this year. From what
tournament
I'm told.
is Greenville.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, so you'll be on the scene of the crime where you just crushed it.
yeah.
You remember that hit?
I do remember it. Yeah.
What do you remember? What went through your mind there? That's the championship game. You're playing South Florida. I remember they moved it up because whatever there was, maybe weather concerns, and you just smoked that ball. And I think at that point, once eventually that ball landed, I think everybody knew that championship was going to be UCF's.
Yeah, I mean we loved playing USF when I was at UCF. It's just like the one I-4 was a thing. There was a lot of build up behind it and whatnot. So we were all fired up for that game. And Yeah, we wanted that championship bat. We really wanted that one. So I was all pumped up, and there was a lot of pressure or whatever. And then I think that when I hit that, everyone kind of breathed a little bit and felt pretty good. And I remember I came around third base and threw the horns down sign, and
Oh, jeez.
I got in a little bit of trouble for that, but
Did you?
a little slap on the wrist. But
Really?
well, I mean, not trouble, but they're just like, you can't really do that. And I was like, oh, okay, like my bad.
Did the UCF video people get in trouble? Because they ate that up. They used that clip, man. I'll tell you.
Oh no, 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 no.
I did not know that story.
Yeah, yeah. They well, I mean, it's just a little early in the game for me to be doing things like that.
Fair. Yeah, it was the first. What was it? First inning? I think
It
it
was like
was.
the third
Third inning. That's right. That's right.
no, it
Third.
was the first inning. I think I was the third batter.
Cody was the one when she broke Stephanie Best's RBI record that hit the one in the
Yeah,
third.
it was quite. We were like 9 pitches into the game. It was a little early for sure, but
You set the tone. That's the swagger, right? But right, isn't that part of it? You have to have that swagger to be successful as a team, as a player. You got to have that confidence. Maybe swagger is the wrong word, but that confidence in you.
no, I don't think it's the wrong word at all. I think you got right on the money there. I think that something that I've always prided myself on is you walk around like you own the place and then you will. So that's just kind of the way I operate. It's definitely the way I operate as a player, and I think that it's just like I said, it's important to have that calm confidence. Walking around just it kind of sets the tone and gets you in a mental state to be successful.
No, and that's why, like, when I heard you were going to FAU, I think that was a perfect fit because Jordan has brought that confident swagger to FAU because they've pulled out
Yeah.
some games during her 2 years. Like, it's been a game changer with them, and they've made some comebacks where maybe they haven't played their best, but they've kept that confidence playing to every out and that confident swagger that we're going to come from behind. You have to have that if you have a great team because you're not going to be at your peak level every game. So you got to find different ways to win that game, and part of that is that swagger and confidence all the time, no matter what the situation is.
No, absolutely, and it's like you gravitate towards stuff like that. I remember last year they came out and had just an awesome opening weekend, and now all of a sudden you want to follow them for the rest of the year, and that's exactly what I did. They showed up and they didn't care who was in the other dugout, and they just went and they were going to play their best softball, and I think that's awesome, and I hope we do it again.
I just realized you're going to be visiting some American conference facilities you are familiar with. Like, I'm pretty sure you're going to USF in the regular season because USF went to FAU
Yeah,
last year, so it makes sense they would flip it.
I think that's right.
So you'll get to go to that stadium again. I mentioned Greenville. Like, did you have a favorite stadium, a road stadium during your American days?
That's a good question. I think that we always had a ton of fun playing at USF just because we always traveled well there. And like I said, War on I-4, there was always, a lot of build up around that series. So I think that I always had a ton of fun there. That'd probably be my answer just because of the environment and everything and how well we traveled. And then there's a lot of build up between USF and UCF. So the fans always got a little chippy and it just kind of added an extra layer to the game and stuff like that. So that'd probably be my answer.
The American has always been an exciting league. I mean, USF, you mentioned those games. Georgina Korick was the ace, who right now you could argue is maybe the best pitcher in the country. How the way she's been throwing.
Yeah.
Had to deal with her. You had to deal with Wichita and Sydney McKinney and all that. Have you noticed that some of these opponents you faced through your career now are like playing at a high level in the pros? Like, oh well, we did pretty well against them.
Yeah, no, I mean the American Conference it's legit, man, and there's some really good coaches and really good teams and
Yeah.
really really high level players in this conference, and like I said, it's high level softball, and that's what I'm excited to be a part of.
Still is top 5 league this past year, multi-bid league.
Yeah.
South Florida had a great year. Ken's still doing his thing over there, and there's some familiar faces there. But Wichita is always tough. I mean, that's kind of the cool thing with the American is I've always felt they didn't get the appreciation that maybe they deserve. But that it's always been a great league, and that was the thing about that 22 UCF team to host right now as of this taping. I mean, they're the only team ever to host as a team of the American. That's something I'm sure. I know George's probably got that in the back of her mind somewhere. She'll deny when she comes on the pod, but that's all right. But I mean, that's kind of the uniqueness. You know what it takes to be successful in the American, and they know. And I just feel like it's a perfect fit. And in a lot of ways, it's like a full circle moment for you.
It is. It's definitely a big time full circle moment for me. And like I said, there is a lot of familiarity in the conference and in the area and things like that. And I think that me and Coach Jordan's personalities work really well together along with the rest of the crew. So I really do think it's a great fit for me. And it's just been a blessing to me, to be honest. I feel very blessed for the opportunity, and I'm excited and I'm super pumped up about it. I'm ready to just get after it. I want school to start. I want practice to start. I want to get going.
Is coaching a long term goal? Was that something you always wanted to do? Like, or is it just something that evolved?
Yeah, not always actually. I back when I was a kid, I wanted to be a sports psychologist, which is why I got my undergrad in clinical psychology. Um,
Ooh.
yeah, and then I started getting closer and closer to graduating, and running out of eligibility and stuff, and just thought of not being on the softball field every day. Just it just didn't seem like a reality to me. I love football. I love the game. I love growing the game. I love being part of the game. I think it's what I was born to do. I think it's what I'm good at. And it's something that I can see myself being part of for a very long
How did you end up at UCF?
time. When I was getting recruited, it was honestly my dream school growing up. I always wanted to go there. And then I got originally recruited by Coach Gillespie, who obviously was coach right before Coach Bear. And then Coach Bear took over, and thankfully she kept me around as a recruit. Um, yeah, I mean the rest is history. I got recruited at a very young age just because the rules were very different back when I was
Sure.
being recruited. But yeah, I always wanted UCF. I was kind of tunnel vision on them. I don't really take no for an answer, so I wasn't going to stop till I got what I wanted, and I got what I wanted. So uh, the rest is kind of history.
Do you remember the first time you spoke to Coach Paul Malone? Because there was a transition there.
Yeah, I do actually. I was on the phone. I was at my friend's house, and she called me, and we talked for a while actually. And it's funny, the first conversation I ever had with Coach Bear, we really didn't talk much about softball at all. She just wanted to get to know me as a person and wanted me to be able to get to know her as a person. And I um, talked to talked to Coach Bobby a little bit on the phone that day, for the kiddos and stuff like that. So uh, it was cool. Yeah, I do. I remember that conversation like it's yesterday. Actually, it's funny.
So you knew right away from that conversation this was the right fit still.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm just an extremely competitive person. I could tell from the first time I talked to Coach Ray that she was an extremely competitive individual, and that's something I thrive under. And she told me on the phone that we were going to host a regional within 5 years, and we did it in four. So I think that she just I have a lot of respect for people that are highly competitive and have a very clear vision and very clear goals, and that's exactly what she had, and I wanted to be a part of it. There was never really a doubt for me.
As the story goes, you also predicted that we would host the regional there in 22 when UCF found out they couldn't host the regionals because they were moving to the Big 12 and all that other stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
as the story goes, you texted everybody in the team that hey, we may not be able to host the conference tournament, but they can't take us from hosting the regional. That's where the goal that year started, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that it really started in that moment. I think that we'd been talking about it for a while, but yeah, they we were moving over to the Big 12 conference. It just got all announced and stuff like that, and everyone's all excited and whatever. And then all of a sudden, American calls and they're like, we were supposed to host conference tournament that year, and American calls are like, yeah, you guys aren't hosting. Uh, and we were all fired up about it because we were all pumped up about hosting and whatnot. And I was like, look, guys, like they might be able to take that away from us, but they can't tell us we can't host a regional. So then we kind of got our eyes set on that, and um, that crew was very resilient. I think that there was a lot of things that tried to get in our way that year, and we were just stopping at nothing to achieve our goals. And it's some of my greatest memories from college were from that year. I mean, it was awesome. It was awesome.
Remember that selection show? It was a long selection show.
It's a very long selection show.
You've had a couple in your career, lengthy selection shows.
Yeah, yeah. I had a couple of very long selection shows in my career, but that one was it was long, but it was short. It's just the buildup was there, and we kind of knew, but we didn't know, and we were very hopeful. And then I remember you were in the corner, and you were like, "That's good, that's good, that's good." So no, it was that moment was surreal and just kind of like making it all come reality and watching, facilities was kind of scramble a little bit to get the place ready. And it was just really cool. It was really cool to see like just the whole community kind of band around us to get the place ready for an awesome regional. It turned out to be great. And it turned out to go exactly how we wanted to. So it was awesome. It was really a dream come true.
I mean, I've never been at a watch party and that he as loud as a reaction when the name popped up. I mean, it was a massive explosion. Like I
Yeah.
still watch the video clip, and my favorite part is like I think it was Kaysen or one of them or Ryder like freaked out because it just like this huge noise explosion
Yeah.
of joy there. I do, yes, I may have tried to. I did get a little excited as a bracketologist. Obviously, I was
Naturally.
aware of that, which Coach Clark knows by now because I've gotten messed. I've kind of predicted where they've been going the last couple of years, but then you backed it up, winning that regional,
Yeah.
beating Michigan.
Yeah.
Uh, Favorite moment of your career?
Was that my favorite moment? Yeah, no, for sure. Winning that regional was by far the favorite moment of my career. Just to, like I said, people don't really realize how hard it is to be a college athlete, and the sacrifices that we make and the discipline that it takes to play at an elite level. And we talked about all year long was hosting and winning a regional and getting supers, and hosting and winning a regional and getting supers all year long. That's all we talked about. So just to spend so much time and effort and energy into that and just seeing it become a reality in front of your face next to like your family, it was surreal. I mean, I feel like I can feel those emotions all over again. It's indescribable. It's something that it's like a once in a lifetime situation. I'm so grateful that I got to experience that in my college career, because there's a lot of people that go through their college career and don't experience anything like that. So I'm just beyond grateful that I got to be a part of that.
You were part of a lot of significant UCF moments. The
Yeah,
22 regional, hosting for the first time, winning the regional, winning, highest ranked team, etc. 23 final years, the American, you would go out on top, winning the conference tournament in Tampa, which was such a dramatic tournament because I'll never forget we're down 4-0 to Memphis
yeah,
in the opening round, and it wasn't looking good. And I'll never forget Coach Bear gets out there and just lights you guys up. I mean,
yeah,
just and lights up the umpire. Like I could tell she's trying to get you like fired up. And then you turn to double play, and she comes out of the dugout like, "Let's go!" And it started the comeback. Do you remember that? Because I thought that was like a lot of coaches would not have been able to figure that out, but she did. She figured she could tell you guys were not at the level you needed to be. She was going to get it out of you. You make the comeback, and then as they say, the rest is history.
yeah. No, that I mean everything about that tournament, to be honest with you, was unorthodox. I mean I remember watching. I mean that first Memphis game, of course, was insane. And then thank God we ended up coming back. And then Wichita goes out early, which wasn't we weren't expecting either.
Tulsa knocked him out, beat him upset him in the Nick knocked him out in the semis, I think it was.
Yeah. So I mean, there was just that tournament. Just everything about it was weird. There was a lot of delays. There was weather. There was a lot of different things that was just making that tournament different than a lot of conference tournaments we've been a part of. But we were able to stay resilient through it and come out on top, like you said. So
Beat South Florida in their park, their backyard. Sarah Willis pitched all 3 games, gets the tournament MVP. Run ruled Tulsa to win the championship.
yeah,
And just celebrating that field and the last time in the American. I mean, that was historic. And then you're also a good part of the first ever Big 12 team
hmm
that makes the tournament regionals. I know that was a different selection show process for you. You had to wait a while to find out if you were in. But
that
again, you're part of that first Big 12 transition there.
that selection show was probably the longest night of my life. I'm not gonna lie, probably long. I dug a hole into the ground with like my knee like shaking.
I heard.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought I taught you well. I said, look for Tallahassee. if it was
I
in Gainesville.
Elo, you did teach me well, but you gotta understand.
Well, you can blame for that was FAU because they got in Gainesville. They put him there
I
that
know.
year. And I think they put Florida Gulf Coast there. They put two Florida teams. So I knew when that came out that I'm like, oh, we're going to Tallahassee
No, you
there at that
shared
point.
with class.
Hmm?
I said you should have shared with the class that
Well, I
you
was
did.
doing a live show at that point for my bosses that wanted me to do a live show. But I thought I let you, Cody, and Coach Bear know.
You did. You did.
I don't know what you got lost, but granted, it was still nerve wracking. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, when you're towards one of the last teams announced, it's still very weird.
I mean, what were we like, the second to last or the third to last team announced? It was crazy.
You would not have enjoyed 2012 then because UCF was literally the last team announced in 2012. They were literally the last team in the field, last team announced going to Gainesville. You would not have enjoyed that year then.
No, I'm good. I prefer to just win the conference tournament and then just get to have a nice, relaxing night.
Well, that's a good message for your players. Just take care
Yeah,
of business, right?
just do it that way. Let's just do it that way, and then we all
I
get to.
I would be remiss. You play with a lot of great teammates, but one of the players you're always going to be linked with is Jada Cody, who
Yeah,
still played at a high level professionally. You both are the winningest UCF players of all time. You have the most wins for any players.
yeah.
Just speak about her and that because you two are always going to be linked. You both are Order of Pegasus award winners, which kind of blows my mind away. Actually, like what are the odds of that? But you both came together and raised the program a lot.
Yeah, I think that me and Jada were always extremely tight, and we knew that if we were gonna reach the goals that we wanted to reach, both as individuals and for the program, we were gonna work together. And I think that we knew that off the bat. So, we got close quick, and we just always fed off of each other. I think that we had the type of relationship where we could always be extremely honest with each other, and I always appreciated that a lot about her because, um, you know, people see us and they're not, not everyone is willing to get in our grill. But we were always willing to, be completely honest with each other and kind of bring out the best of each other in that way and have honest and tough conversations. And I think that really helped the two of us thrive together as both like players and leaders and things like that. And, when you work so closely with someone for so long, you really have no choice but to, become super close and understand, what each other may need in a hard situation and stuff like that. So I think that, me and Jada spent a ton of time together and we grew a ton, not just as players, but as people in our years. And I think that we kind of like watched each other grow up a lot next to each other. And it was really cool to be able to kind of share that with someone who stuck around for all the years. And, I think that we kind of both built a little bit of a legacy for ourselves and for each other with that program. I think that's something that will stick for a long time. So it's super cool. And I feel super blessed that, everything shook out the way it did.
Well, he did. I mean, to the point where I remember your senior day, and Jada's senior day was a huge senior class. It was one of the most celebrated senior days ever.
Mm.
And I remember your last at bat, it's bottom of the seventh against Oklahoma. Everybody gets up. I'm sitting next to your dad. Your dad raced to sit behind home plate. I was sitting behind home plate. ESPN had the national broadcast, and I'm sitting next to him, and he's like just getting all like worked up. And then
Mm.
you crush that ball. You hit it to left field. You hit it right to Bobby. Actually, he caught the
Yeah,
ball, and
yeah,
I've never seen your dad just jump in like he just lost it.
yeah.
And everybody lost it in the stands. It was a pretty special moment there for I would imagine for you there.
Yeah, I mean that was
Did you
incredible.
sense that? Did you sense the vibe, the emotions, the people, the appreciation for you, or were you too
Uh,
locked in?
no, there was no avoiding feeling that. Just kind of the environment. It was very heavy, just that whole day was very heavy. And I think that everyone in the world knew that that was probably going to be my last at bat at the Plex. And I remember Coach Gasso called the timeout right before my at bat and made a pitching change. And so I got to Yeah, so I got to go over and talk to Coach Bear a little bit. Usually, when there's pitching change, I get like super lost. I don't really talk to anyone. I just go get my timing, get in the zone, and whatever. Might get a quick stat report, but I'm very like leave me alone, like let me do my thing. But I remember that happened, and I just kind of went over and me and Coach Bear were just talking. And she was like, I don't even remember exactly what the conversation was, but it wasn't anything about a scouting report or anything about, anything tactical. She just was like, go do your thing up there, kid. And yeah, I think that I had no idea I was going to hit a home run. It was a changeup, and I was hitting fastball or hard, and it was a changeup. And I don't really know why I swung or what happened, but I swung and now, and I think that it was God's work, to be honest with you. It was a surreal moment, like you said, with Bobby catching it, hitting a home run my last at bat, kind of going around the bases, looking in the dugout, seeing my team just lose their absolute minds. I think that that's God's work through and through. I don't think that was really me up. I think that that was just kind of a blessing and the final send off for me.
Still have the ball?
Of course I do. Of course I do.
Where do you have you have it framed? Where do you have it? You have it like in a box? What do you got?
It's funny you asked that. It's in my room, and it's the only home run ball I've ever kept.
Really?
Yep. Yep. The only home run ball I've ever kept.
I would not have guessed that.
Yeah. I'm not really a super sentimental galley though.
No, but you've hit some pretty significant home runs, like the walk-offs we've talked. That's interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, just yep. I mean, I think I kept the walk off ones for a little while, but I don't really know where they ended up. But
Ooh.
that one I always knew where it was. That one was
So,
special.
I'm glad you kept the last one. That's pretty. That's a pretty awesome senior moment. I may have joined your dad in losing it a little bit.
Yeah, I think everyone did. I think everyone did. I remember why I was running around the bases, and even the Oklahoma girls, they were like smiling for me. Like I think that just like that.
Yeah, that's the thing is players always respect players, right? And at senior day, it was like I remember we honored their seniors, which is obviously one of the great senior classes in the history of the sport with Jennings and Coleman. So I think there's that common respect thing from a player standpoint, isn't there?
Yeah, and I knew some of those girls. Just I played a couple summer ball games with them and some of those players. So we kind of knew each other going into the program. But like I said, just the environment itself and it's just like the heaviness of the situation. I think that everyone in the area knew what was going on and kind of the stakes behind the at bat itself.
As an alum now, how proud of you? And I feel like in a way, it's kind of a very you talk about meant to be. I almost feel like it was meant to be. You're leaving UCF, but like the program's in good hands. Like those young players last year was such a young team. Everybody was asking, what's it going to look like post Doherty, post Cody, post that great senior class, and there they are getting a regional final in Austin. And winning 35 games again, first regional final since 22 with a very young team that returns just about everybody. As an
Yeah.
alum, how proud of you of that group with the bright future ahead and keeping the momentum of what your previous senior class has built.
Oh, I mean, super proud of those girls. I think that like you said, they had an extremely successful season, and they had a lot of cards stacked against them. So I mean, as an alum and as someone that was a part of that season, it's something that I'm extremely proud of them for doing. And there was a few girls that really just stepped up in their leadership and took on some really big roles, and I think they did a really good job in doing so, and just kind of let the program keep moving in the forward direction that it was moving. Like you said, there was a lot of, I think it was 11 people that lost their eligibility all at once. I mean,
Graduated, yeah, 11 seniors graduated. I mean, I remember that senior. It's the longest senior ceremony in the history of the program. It was a made-for-TV event.
yeah, and a lot of times in a lot of places that would kind of derail things, and it didn't, and they just kept moving and kept going forward. And I think that as an alumni and as someone that departed from the program, that's as a player, that's really all you can wish for. Is you can wish that you left the place in a situation where they can continue to thrive. You never want to leave somewhere and watch it fall apart. And I never for a second thought that was going to be the case. I believe in those girls.
You did. No, in all seriousness, you're not just cliche. That's not cliche. You told me that in the fall. Like, I remember you because I was sort of nervous. I was
Yeah.
like, what's going to happen here? Like, and you're like, no, they'll be fine. Like, they're going to be fine. Just give them time. They're going to figure it out, but they're talented. They're like, you told me that. They were uber talented. You and Cody, ironically, both told me that. And you both were, correct as usual.
Usually works out like that.
which had to be fun for you to go out with a regional. You know,
Yeah.
you did it as 4 times as a player, now you did it as a GA. Not bad.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was super pumped that I wasn't going back to Tallahassee, to be honest with you. I mean, I was happy we were going somewhere else.
Yes. Was that the reaction when you found out you're going to Texas? It was like, oh, thank goodness, not Tallahassee anymore.
I'm excited to play more softball wherever that gets to be.
Oh,
But
it was different. I did not have that one. I have to give Coach Bear's son Kasem the credit on that one because
he did call.
apparently he predicted this.
He did. I heard it with my ears. He called it. I was like, that was impressive, kid. That was impressive.
I,
He's an impressive little boy, though. I love that kid. I love that kid.
so he'll be the new bracketologist. I'll pick his brain on regional
Oh,
sites. Clearly,
I think the next greatest men's fast pitch player too.
yeah, he's got a good. I've heard he's got a good wound up and everything. It's
So
good. At some point
yeah.
in your career, I don't know if it's this upcoming year, whenever, you're probably going to play UCF. You might play him at UCF. Have you thought of that possibility? Is that going to be weird for you? Is it whatever? Like, what's that going to be like when you return?
I haven't really thought of it a ton, to be honest with you. But I think that, the emotions are going to be high, of course. I think that's just like natural human reaction. I don't think there's much avoiding that. But at the end of the day, I have nothing but just love and respect for Night Nation and for that town and that university and that athletic department and that program. I mean, some of those people that are still there, they're my people. I love them to death and I take a bullet for them. So I, like I said, nothing but love and respect. I think that at the end of the day, though, I'm a competitor. It's all I really know. It's how I was raised. It's how I'm wired. I don't know how to be any different. I hate to lose. I hate to lose. I hate to lose. I hate to lose when I like to win. So, as much love that I have for those people, when the ball's in the circle, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because on the other side, I'm going for the win. And I think that they would expect nothing less of me, and I expect nothing less of them. So I think that it'll be a ton of fun. I think that it'll be an exciting game. Like I said, I'm sure the emotions will be high, but I think at the end of the day, it's softball, and it'll be fun, and it'll be good to see my people and all that stuff.
Yeah, that'll be unique. That'll be a lot of fun there. And you left a great legacy there. What do you want people to say about you?
What do I want people to say about me?
Yeah. When you come back on, let's say 5, 10 years from now, it's Alumni Weekend. You're coming back. What do you want people to bring up and say about you?
I think that I always took a lot of pride in, my leadership abilities and how I treated my teammates. I always wanted everyone to know that I, saw them so much deeper than a softball player, and I was going to be someone that they could rely on. So I think that something that I want to be remembered by is a strong leader and a consistent one, and someone that loved their teammates and their program and everything like that unconditionally. And at the end of the day, the wins and losses, they're great, but I was there for them as human beings, so for everything.
And now, moving forward, you have summer, then fall ball will be here before you know it. What are going to be some of the things that are going to be keys for you as you get to know the players, they get to know you, staff, as you move forward now to go fall ball, and then another season where I know a lot of high expectations and big goals I know over there in Paradise.
Yeah, big goals, and I love it. I love big goals. Like I said, I love a clear vision. I love goals, and I like stopping at nothing until you achieve them. I think something that's going to be important for me is just kind of, getting settled and finding my place here, and just understanding everyone. I think that you can't really coach someone unless you know them. So I think it's going to be important for me to get to know everyone and understand like what each player individually might need in certain situations and things like that. I don't believe in cookie cutter players or cookie cutter coaching. I think that it's a very individual thing. You gotta know your players and your program, your culture, and once you know those things, then you can reach your potential as a coach. But for me, I think that I'm gonna have to take a lot of time to understand those things and just really engulf myself in the process of understanding the culture and everything like that, so that I can be the best version of myself for the players and for my fellow coaches.
That is FAU's player of development. Still working on it. Still working on it, Shannon. It's, I
That's
got
forgive you.
Shannon Doherty joining us here on In the Circle, former UCF Knight. That's gonna be something you get used to, weird to be used to. But
Yeah.
hey, listen, thanks for doing this. I like the powder blue might work better on you than red, but you look fine in red.
All right. I'll work on that.
You got the tiger, but no, listen. All seriousness, thanks for what you're doing, and good luck. I'm excited for you, and I'm excited you're going to be awesome with Coach Clark, and that's going to be a fun team as always. But thanks for doing this, and we'll try to get you on down the road. But thanks for coming on In the Circle.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was a blast.